industrial farming. You know, it's just wrong. I know you're into regenerative farming. I think that's great.
It's carbon neutral.
Yeah.
And everyone's trying to reduce carbon. Organic farms are carbon neutral because that's how nature intended animals to live. The real problem is we have so many people that need food, and that we're reliant upon factory farming right now to a large extent, because there's enormous populations of people that live in a place where they grow nothing. Urban environments, they need food constantly shipped into them, and no one's growing anything, and the population keeps booming, and we right now are dependent upon factory farming for a lot of that food.
Well, I wonder if you could, through regenerative farming, cover it.
So first of all, the regenerative animal farming he's referring to by Will Harris, who he mentions in the podcast, is not carbon neutral. This has been studied. And to answer the question of whether or not regenerative animal farming could sustainably replace factory farming, absolutely not. This type of farming takes up on average 2.5 times more land than conventional farming, and animal agriculture as of right now takes up 80% of our agricultural land and supplies only 17% of our global calories. So if the world switched to regenerative animal agriculture under the model he mentions in this podcast, we would be using 200% of our agricultural land to get 17% of our global calories. This would be a horrible idea. Will Harris himself has mentioned that this type of farming is not scalable.
And I want to admit to you that my system here is not super scalable. It is not.
If you want to replace factory farming while sustainably feeding the world and not using an excessive amount of land, plant agriculture is the way. Put very simply, growing plants to feed human beings directly is incredibly more efficient than growing plants to feed to animals to get an average of 10% of those calories back in the form of animal products. It's really that simple.